The UFC was the first sport to say, if we stop every single time there's a positive test, we will never, ever get anything done. Essentially, the sports version of learn to live with this. We are not going to shut everything down. We're going to isolate this individual, make sure he's safe. But the night before a big fight, positive test, Stephen A breaks it, card goes on. And in no small part, in my opinion, Key, the other sports looked at that and said, yeah, we're a little different from UFC. Dana's a little different from Silver, Goodell, Bettman, and Manfred. But they said, we can make this work with a positive test. They may not give the UFC credit, but they saw it and they remembered it.
A little different though, right? Because you got 1 or 2, 3, 4 people around opposed to 50, 60, 70 people on a team in a building where maybe there's your sparring partner, your trainer, and maybe a couple other people in your entourage. Outside of that, how many people in one collective, area and group in the UFC opposed to some of the bigger leagues?
And the UFC did it. They've done it right, and they're rolling on it. It's a pleasure to have UFC President Dana White join us this morning on the program. Good morning, Dana. We're getting ready for Khabib and Gaethje Saturday. What should fans expect from this fight with these two dudes talking the junk they have?
Yeah, actually this one's been pretty respectful between these two. These two both respect each other. Khabib, this fight for him, he's on his way to being the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Obviously the best 155-pounder of all time and possibly, the GOAT of the sport. He's 28-0. He's undefeated. It's so hard to go undefeated in this sport. And what makes this fight so big and so interesting is Justin Gaethje. He's 22-2. This guy has MMA style wrestling that is works for this sport, and he has dynamite in both hands. People believe that Justin Gaethje is the man who can dethrone Khabib Nurmagomedov.
What's up, Dana? How you doing, man?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing good, hanging in, can't wait. Let me ask you this question. Why are the fights starting at 2 p.m. East Coast time rather than the normal prime time slot?
So what happens is every time we put it up, first of all, this is a global sport now. We're in every country all over the world on some form of television. And these poor people, listen, I've been living it. I've been living it over here on Fight Island for 5 weeks. Have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to start watching these events. So for this event over here in Abu Dhabi and for the rest of Europe and the rest of the world, we're doing it prime time here for them.
What has been the key to success, though, over on Fight Island?
The bubble. We're literally in the greatest bubble ever built in the history of building bubbles. The restaurants over here are unbelievable. The hotel that we're in is insane. The attention to detail that these people have, the service level that they have. Ask anybody from employees to fighters to fight camps, anybody who's been over here, they'll tell you it's been the most amazing experience ever.
I know Dana had mentioned that had he known how great Fight Island would be, that $100 million palace you call the Apex in Vegas might not have even been built if he knew how great they'd be taking care of you over there. You mentioned Khabib, of course, he's most well known for defeating Conor McGregor. Conor, there's a lot of talk here, Dana. I know you've been talking here in the last day or so. Poirier, January, maybe at the home of the Cowboys. The weight classes have been discussed, 155, 170. What can you tell us about the return of Conor in January that's firm? There seems to be so much floating.
Yeah, listen, if this fight's going to happen, it's at 155 pounds for sure. If you look at, where these guys sit in the rankings right now, it doesn't make sense anywhere else. You got Dustin Poirier, who's ranked number 2 in the world, Conor McGregor, who's ranked number 4 in the world. Gaethje's number 1 in the world, and him and Khabib are fighting this weekend. We're going to find out, who gets a shot at Khabib next. So, it has to be at 155 pounds. Dallas, Texas Stadium, we've been talking to them for years about doing a fight over there. I'm not doing a fight in the United States unless we can have the full crowd back. If we can sell out a stadium, then I'll do it. Other than that, it would be either on Fight Island or at the Apex in Las Vegas.
That's some interesting news we'll have to look forward to. Last thing for you, I've always mentioned this. You mentioned this was a global sport. I've talked to you over the years on SportsCenter, and we've discussed this from a macro level. But now that the sport just continues to grow by leaps and bounds, what is the one country, one place in the world when the coronavirus subsides, if and when it does, what's the one place UFC hasn't staged a card that is your holy grail?
My holy grail around the world where we haven't been yet. Let me think. Obviously you start looking at places with with massive populations like India, and there's still places in China that we haven't held an event yet. So and we have a Chinese world champion. So as you know, one of the things when you run this business right now, we have a champ from New Zealand, we have a champ from Australia, we have a champ from Russia, China. Kamaru Usman is from Africa. So, we have a lot of interesting places that we could put fights on.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.